All right, welcome everybody. It's gonna be a review day. What do I mean by review? They get all these programs out there. Year in review, what the markets did, what do you expect in 23? Well, again, I don't so much participate in that because, again, you're gonna review this past year. It's like looking at the weather report from yesterday. The hell good is that gonna do you? A lot of people out there frustrated about their portfolios and the performance. And my God, what a bad year from the market. And some justifiably are upset and angry. Others, I would say, are unjustifiably upset and angry. And what do I mean by that? Again, what type of investor are you? What does your portfolio look like? Let me put it. I'll try to put it this way. Let's look at Apple. I look at my position in Apple and how far that stock has come since we owned Amazon. It's other myriad of companies out there, but I look at it from way back when, and I also look at the company saying, where do I think they're going to be going? If you take this moment in time, whether it be this year, this is if you have a high quality portfolio, you own good companies, and you extrapolate a bad year, maybe even a bad 2 years, who knows? You're not going to be successful. You're not going to be able to build wealth in that manner. Now, again, like I said, people could be justifiably angry about their portfolios and that they bought up all sorts of ridiculous high flyers, companies that had very weak balance sheets, all of those FOMO stocks, we used to call them, right? Fear of missing out, chasing them through the roof. Didn't have any sort of earnings whatsoever. All of them in the red. Yeah, because the reality is that those hype cycles that we've discussed here on the podcast, on the radio show, they can wipe you out. Again, if you own trash. FOMO, fear of missing out. You need to be FOMO now when it comes to quality names. Okay? I quite frankly, people, I really don't like saying, see, I told you so. Again, coming from somebody like me in my position, see, I told you so's are always bad. I don't gain anything from them. Me, or prestige, or you're right again. No. People lose money. People lose money. Bad things are occurring when I say, see, I told you so. That's just a reality. Okay? Yeah, I wish my see, I told you so's were say, hey, yeah, I called all the football games this past weekend. Anyway, I don't gamble. That's not my thing. But go back. Go back to the dot-com collapse. Go back to the 87 crash. Go back to the Asian financial crisis. Go back to the European debt crisis. Go back to COVID. Each and every one, 100% of the time, you owned high-quality companies. Companies, many of them paying dividends, paid you to own them. And you bought them on sale during a sell-off, bear market, recession, whatever the hell it may be. You killed it. You killed it. I can't stress this enough. This is where the real money is made. I know you get up, you look at the oh my God, the market's down 300 points today, and I don't know why. I don't either. Don't feel bad if you don't know why. And this may not give you comfort, but I don't know either. Nor does anybody else. Again, you're looking at things over a short period of time. You're going to lose. Again, I want to talk a little bit about, and we've done this on the program, recessions. I actually forgot. I wrote a column about this earlier on this year. And I love my little sub references. And a 1980s movie Splash, I was a big fan of. And there's a scene where, the mermaid, Daryl Hannah, the mermaid, what was it? Madison was her name? Because Madison, I was trying to remember. She spends the day in the Bloomingdale's television department, back when Bloomingdale's had a television department. And she's sitting in front of the TV and just watching. And the guy's working there like, it's beautiful blonde here watching TV all day. And she learns the English language. See, the mermaid learns the language and actually gets acquainted with life in the 1980s in New York City. And imagine if a mermaid today, remember in the movie, pops up naked at Statue of Liberty. Who can tell me what the security guard or the guide said there? Remember, he goes, "Bocce balls." I gotta watch that movie again. John Candy, Tom Hanks. That was a good one. Eugene Levy. Holy shnikes. But anyway, if the mermaid were to pop up today and instead of going to Bloomingdale's went to, I don't know, Best Buy, the mermaid would be thinking that there's this monster coming our way. This Cloverfield-like monster. This big recession monster that's going to come to wreck us all. I mean, all year. That's what we've been talking about. All year. And guess what? Probably be talking about it for the next several months. I mentioned earlier on in the program, people are like, what the hell are you talking about? I said, if the NBER called a recession in 2022 today, the markets would be off to the races. Anyway, plenty of recessions out there, right? But anyway, I made the comparison. When I was a kid, I used to collect baseball cards. And, how we would judge, various different players. Because again, no cable TV, no sports center. We had our basic game of the week on. But, you judge baseball players based upon their card. Their card. What was the other show that I used to love? This Week in Baseball. Remember that? Anyway, you look at the back of the baseball card and you could determine the quality of a player. So I said, you know what? Well, let's do a recession baseball card. Let's do a recession baseball. Let's look at the stats during recessions here. I'm not going to count the COVID one, because the COVID one was ridiculous. Last 5 U.S. recessions, 73, 74. S&P lost 37%. 1975, 1976, the S&P gained 70%. Think about that. And how many people got out at the right time and got in at the right time? How did people make money during this? They kept investing. The dollar cost averaged. 1981, S&P loses 5%. It was a deep recession. 82, 83, S&P gained 48%. 1990, S&P lost 3%. 91, 92, S&P gained 40%. 2002, S&P loses 37%. 2003, 2004, S&P gains 42%. 2008, S&P loses 37%. 2009 into 2010, S&P gains 45%. That's not a bad baseball card. It's not a bad baseball card. Now, again, each situation is unique and different. It is. And this situation is very, very different. Now, quite frankly, unless they really look to blow up the economy, and that's something that the Fed is determined to do, to wreck it and see unemployment rise. How is it possible? I mean, we talked about this yesterday here on the program. Everybody can find a job. I went into New York City yesterday. So walked around downtown, in around the Village in Soho for the first time since, what is it? Yeah, winter of 2020. Since pre-COVID. And It was jamming. It was jamming. And every store looking for people to work. Anyway, again, I want to mention this as well. Okay, you want to be successful. And I don't want to spend the entire time doing financial planning. We have follow-ups that we have to do. I will be spending a great deal of time going over how to be successful, how to build wealth, how to go about dealing with what's going on right now. Because again, you can turn on a business program and they're gonna try to depress you. They are. They don't know. There's no happy medium when it comes to this. You listen to me here on this program. When markets are down, do I seem like the world's going to end? I'm distraught and things are terrible. When markets are racing through the roof, am I throwing on a party hat and have noisemakers here? No, I'm saying, hey, well, just calm down. Let's put this in perspective. Okay, let's look to trim positions here and there. Let's slow down, and that's just the way you have to be. Okay, you have to be very moderate in your temperament. Okay, which involves, again, you need courage to stand in the face of the chattering classes, and obviously patience. Two very important things, and the whole thing about embracing the suck. When things are going poorly, again, you have to. The psychology, it's difficult for investors. Fight or flight response that human beings have. Yeah, you have to fight. You have to get rid of that. Okay? Human beings are not hardwired to be good investors by any stretch of the imagination. You embrace the suck. You dollar cost average into quality. But again, okay, you bought all those hype cycle stocks. You bought all of those companies, those FOMO stocks. You're listening to the message boards, trying to get rich quickly. No. The funny thing is, it's like the opposite. Was it Ernest Hemingway? And I forget, I think it was in one of his books. They asked a question about going bankrupt. And he said, going bankrupt, how did you go bankrupt? He said, I guess it was little by little over time. And then all of a sudden, I'm paraphrasing, trying to remember exactly how that line went. That's how, again, the opposite is true. The inverse is true. How do you become wealthy? Well, little by little, then all of a sudden, wow, look at that. Look at that. Again, same thing. I talk about what is the royal road to riches. Look at compounding, right? Compounding, the royal road to riches. It can work for you. Work for you as you compound the best safe yields over time, or it can work against you, where you've got ridiculous credit card debt that crushes you. Anyway, we'll spend some time this weekend going over it on the radio show. I got some follow-ups. This from yesterday. We talked about college and administrators and the woke nonsense, and maybe that's going to change. Maybe they've jumped the shark at this point in time, and we're going to move on. It was a Victor Davis Hanson piece that we were talking about yesterday. Here's one. It's interesting. The exorbitant costs of attending college sets students up for failure, and higher education is often a scam and unnecessary in some fields. This is according to a researcher on market influences and monopolies. And I quote, "I think that the financial aspects of college or higher education have overwhelmed the ability to create a citizenry on a very basic level." This is Matt Stroller, Research Director, American Economic Liberties Project. This is kind of like a slow burning crisis that we have to look into. Again, I think it's great he did this study. But again, if you've been listening to this program over the past couple of decades, you know that already. All these things, they start coming out. You're like, oh yeah, I heard Markowski talked about that years ago. The average cost of going to private college, including tuition fees, books, and room and board, went from $2,900 in 1971 to $51,690 in 2021. Nearly a third of parents and students believe that college is overpriced. Just a third? What are the other 2/3? We got that many millionaires and billionaires here in the country. This is hilarious. I didn't even know about this. Okay, I knew about the school. It is one of the most prestigious journalism schools in the entire world. What a bunch of bunk. Really, what a bunch of bunk. Journalism school. That's one of the big schools where, from my alma mater, Syracuse University, but also Columbia. I think it's Columbia, Northwestern, Syracuse, big time journalism schools and whatnot. Yeah. The Columbia Journalism School is a sort of in an existential crisis. I'm not making this up. They have a 9 months in the time you could have a baby. 9-month degree that costs, journalism degree, $120,000. $120,000. What does that mean? You're basically buying a piece of artwork for your wall that says Columbia on it. It's a diploma degree for $120,000. So it is. A 9-month degree program. Yeah. We were going after Columbia earlier on in the year. There was a Wall Street Journal talking about their film school as well, and all these people graduating $300,000 plus in debt. And yeah, we went over the numbers yesterday. Victor Davis Hanson mentioned as well how college undergraduate enrollment declined by 650,000 students year over year. Again, you think about this. We use journalism as an example, okay? Journalism, and I mentioned this, journalism used to be a bit of a working class profession. There really isn't any rocket science behind writing a news article. You just figure out what's going on, you write it down, right? Well, high school degree. And I've mentioned this before. You know, Mr. Smith. Yeah, he was he's one of those cool teachers, right? One of the cool, it's not like the cool, but this guy was a cool teacher and a good teacher. I thoroughly enjoyed going to his class when I was in high school. And I remember, those classes that you remember, you forget a lot. The teacher sucks, but those teachers that, that were great. And then you actually learned something. You really wanted to go to class every single day. This was one of those guys. It was an English elective that I took in high school. It was journalism. And again, I'm a pretty freaking opinionated guy. Was back then too. And he taught me. I say, you're writing a piece. You have to take your biases out. As difficult as it may be, this is what it takes to do a good job. And he taught us that. And he taught me that. I got an A in the class. Okay. And I loved it. And I said, I could do this out of high school. What happened here? What exactly happened? And the other thing, journalism, real simple too. You learn a lot about journalism. One of my favorite, I say this all the time. I say my favorite movies. Yeah, because I have so many of them. Almost Famous, fantastic. Cameron Crowe flick, just a great movie. And you've got this character played by the late Philip Seymour Hoffman. And he was a rock journalist it was Cream magazine. And he's explaining to the young kid who's in high school who wants to be a journalist. And he actually talks his way in. Kid's in high school, and he convinces Rolling Stone to do a piece on this fictitious band called Stillwater. And anyway, again, I think it was kind of a takeoff, if I'm not mistaken, but Cameron Crowe when he was younger and following Led Zeppelin around. But anyway, he explains to him that you got to understand that the people you're covering, they're the enemy. Okay? You have to question everything. And he says they're gonna try to ply you with girls and booze and alcohol. No. You gotta be honest. They're the enemy, and it's a great movie. And you learn more, and right there, watching Almost Famous, than going and spending $120,000 at Columbia Journalism School. Yeah, again, didn't we say this yesterday? Didn't we say that this is going to be a problem? You got COVID racing through China. And you know what? We're opening up our country now. Now that we're just going to let our citizens fly all over the country. And if you want to come over to China, you can come here too. I'm not making this up. Okay, 2 flights from China to Milan were found to have 50% of the people on the flight from China had COVID. I shit you not. Yeah. Germany health authorities are closely watching the situation in China. Closely watching? You know what we got today? Again, I'm sure many of you, listening to the program or yourself. Again, I want people to become, curious. Become curious. Become like Leonardo da Vinci. Question everything. You say to yourself, China's opening up. Why the hell is our government not doing anything? They've got top men working on it right now. That's what you're getting right now from the government. We're trying to figure out how we're going to go about handling this. What? What do you mean? So China creates this virus, okay? Gets decimates the world. But it's not entirely. Decimate is 1 out of 10. They didn't decimate. Again, we know, okay? We all lost friends and loved ones. China virus, right? Trump was right on that. China virus. Anyway, now that they are their economy is in the toilet because Xi Jinping is a frickin' moron. Xi Jinping is a frickin' moron. Chinese leadership they're morons. They are. Yeah, by me saying this right now, I'll never be allowed to go in that country. Not that I want to. Not the way with the current crop of characters that are running that place. No freaking way. Okay? They wreck the economy. They lock everything down because they're stupid and stubborn, which is dangerous combination. Stupid and stubborn, right? What was that Dean Werber said in what is it? Was it drunk, fat, and stupid? No way to go through life, son. Anyway, dangerous combination. Okay, stupid, stubborn, stupid. That's China, and now we're gonna let them just come on in. Again, Delta House, sure, come on in. Are you nuts? Anyway, again, another bit of a follow-up from yesterday. God, I got great feedback. Like some of the topics that I do here on the program, oftentimes I'm shocked at what gets the people going. And the EV stuff yesterday, got a lot from that. Email, Facebook, you name it. I have to recommend to anybody it's really interested in this. You have to listen to, and you can get it on Spotify. You can get it on a partial part of the interview, I think, on YouTube. Joe Rogan Experience. And again, I have an enormous amount of respect for that guy. I think his podcast is unbelievable. He gets unbelievable guests there on the show. It's a great, great program. It really is. They have an author. His name is, I think he's a Harvard professor as well. His name is Siddharth Kara. He's the author of the book Cobalt Red: How the Blood of the Congo Powers Our Lives. And again, I got to go on Amazon and order the book because it's something I want to read, especially after watching this interview. And he goes in and he explains how almost all of the cobalt in the world, I think it's some 90-something% of the cobalt in the world plus comes from the Congo. There's a few other places. Comes from the Congo. And he, again, watch it. He said, never in the history of slavery, this guy studies slavery, child labor, all these things, never has there been so much profit derived by the in essence, slave labor and child labor that is being done right now in the Congo. Again, you want to know who owns these mines in the Congo? Is it the Congolese people? No, it's China. China owns these mines. And put this into perspective, okay? Cobalt is in everything, okay? Cobalt is in anything that has a rechargeable battery, your phone, your laptop, okay? Your EV. Now, you got an EV. EV has 10 kilograms. 10 kilograms. Basically, if I think about it, of cobalt in it. 1,000 times more than is in your phone. And it's all coming, almost all. Again, 90% plus is coming from basically slave labor. But again, Biden administration just signed a deal with the Congo in regards to, we're going to, trying to do more trade with cobalt. This guy got in, he's documented it. He took pictures that were there, video of it, and it's awful. It really is. So all of you EV people and you super greens out there, and again, we're all guilty. You got a rechargeable battery. It's coming from there. Might that be something we might want to maybe get involved with? I'm just saying. I'm just saying that none of this stuff is okay. And again, he also talks about how all these corporations, they put out these PR pieces talking about clean cobalt and, we care about our workers on all levels of the supply chain, down from the miners on up. No, they don't. No, they don't. Anyway, this next story, unless you're, not everybody has the time, or it's my job. Okay, the type of homework and all the newspapers that I look at and read from all over the globe. I try to cover things here on the show that I feel important, but also stuff that mainstream media is not even touching on. Did you know that there's possibility of another war breaking out in Europe? Yeah, it's part of our mess, the mess that we created in Europe. Serbian security forces on the border with Kosovo have been placed on a full state of combat readiness. They've actually blocked off streets. After weeks of escalating tension between two sides, ethnic Serbs claiming they're being harassed by the ethnic Albanian majority in Kosovo. Again, remember that? Late 1990s, one of Bill Clinton's wag the dog wars. Kosovo declared independence in 2008. Serbia fails to recognize Kosovo. There's roadblocks. There's a northern region that have been put up. There was a shooting near a NATO. We have 4,000 NATO peacekeepers that are there. European Union's trying to mediate the thing. Border here, lines here, our involvement. But again, they're always talking about this right now. Amazing. Again, I mentioned I went to New York yesterday. Obviously I'm always on a fact-finding mission, but I was playing chaperone for my daughter and her friends, and took them around downtown New York. Went out, had a nice late lunch, all sorts of good stuff. Anyway, like I said, I'll tell you what I did, because I had to. I was with a bunch of people, and I'm really not afraid of crap, and I'm very alert. So I said, you know what, we took the train in, and we took the subway downtown. And again, I want trying to teach the girls. Oh, you took those girls? Relax. Okay. Yeah. A lot of more, well more than it used to be. People are walking around talking to themselves. And yeah, you've got to be on alert. So I took it downtown once. We took the Uber back up to catch the train. Subway's a disaster. Subway is a disaster. Penn Station is a shithole. Yeah, it really is. It's a mess. It stinks to high. I mean, worse than I can imagine. Downtown Soho, yes, many stores still haven't opened up. The retail's down, but it was hustling and bustling down there. It was okay. Again, it's a bit of a juxtaposition in some of these areas in and around Midtown where office spaces they're just gone. As we talked about zombie buildings on the program. Anyway, just thought I'd chime in. But I found this hilarious. You have, again, this clown of a mayor, this Eric Adams, because he's a clown. He's a clown. He is responding to criticism. I'm not making this up. He said this. Responding to criticism over increasing the use of facial recognition technology. You know, Big Brother is watching you? No, he says it's no, it's not Big Brother is watching you. Big Brother is protecting you. Does he actually? I don't think he realizes, you know, how frightening that statement is. That's the mayor, and I'm sorry, man, Eric. You know, you got to grow a set. Okay, he keeps talking about, oh yeah, I'm cleaning up the mess left by Bill de Blasio, and quite honestly, I don't think I know Eric Adams. That's why I call him a clown. Okay, I know for a fact the guy can't stand the bail reform laws and what has taken place up in Albany and the attorney general and all of these left-wing wackos. I know he doesn't like it, but he barely opens his mouth because he's playing the big game. He's a Democrat. He's a donkey. And donkeys stick together no matter what, no matter how bad their policies are. They do. And he should be reaming them. Okay? I at least got to go back. And a lot of people didn't like Bloomberg, and I didn't like a lot of his policies either. But you know what? I at least got to hand it to the guy. He, he stuck by his hands. He didn't give a damn about Democrat, Republican. He did what he believed in, and that was it. This continues. Texas and Florida make up about 15% of the U.S. population, but accounted for 70% of its population growth this past year. Yep, U.S. population grew by about 1.2 million. Right, sure. That's if you don't count the illegals. Anyway, here are the losses. California lost 343,000. New York lost almost 300,000. Illinois lost 140,000. And they lost them to where? Florida, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, and Arizona. Hey, more people moved to West Virginia than left for the first time in a decade. I have to tell you, people, I mean, again, I don't know how these states are going to sustain themselves. I don't know how. I don't know how. Again, I talk to people from around the country, and they come out and ask, I say, how much you pay in property taxes? And when I tell them, it's disbelief. And again, you take the property taxes, you take the cost of living, you take the state taxes. Again, I'm out. As much as I like or I love this area where I live, it's a special place. But I'm sorry, I'll come back to visit. I'll come back to visit. And they know this because right now, I'm just being, anybody who's listening from, I know this from about New York. New York State auditors, okay, are like they're good at what they do. Don't try to play the 6 month and a day game unless you can prove it. They actually have software and things for your phone to prove to the New York State audit that you weren't in the state for 6 months and a day, so you don't have to pay the state income tax. I kid you not, because they look into it. They do. Anyway, guys, have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless. WatchDog on WallStreet.com.